Okay, so welcome to our conversation. The design team and theme team for the Future Church Summit thought we could have a conversation and let you be part of it to see, answer some questions about like how our process went and to get a little bit more about what we did as a team working together. So we're just gonna go around our little cubes here and introduce ourselves in no particular order, your name and where you're located and what your role was in the process. So I'll go first. My name is Chantal Todman Moore. I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I was on the design team and the theme team during the summit. Ken, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Ken Burkholder. I'm from Bucks County, Pennsylvania, Percy, and as part of the design team and the theme team as well.
All right, Luke?
Hi, I'm Luke Gasho. I live in Goshen, Indiana, and I was part of the design team and theme team during the summit.
Cool, thanks. How about you, Isaac?
Isaac Villegas. I was part of the design team and the theme team over here in Durham, North Carolina, pastor of a church.
Nice. Annabeth?
Annabeth Rushley, also part of the design and theme team, and live in Washington, D.C.
Cool. Todd?
Hi, I'm Todd Erickson, and I'm with CoVision, and I was the co-captain of the theme team, and I live in the San Francisco Bay Area.
All right, great. And last but not least, Michelle.
My name is Michelle Armster, and I live in Wichita, Kansas. I'm the executive director for Mennonite Central Committee, the Central States region, and I was a part of the design team and the facilitation team.
Okay, great. Thanks everybody for introducing yourselves. So just to get our conversation rolling, I'm going to give a little bit of feedback, or not feedback, but explanation about like how the teams worked, because I heard there's some confusion about like design team, theme team, facilitation teams. What are all these teams? So a little bit about who the teams were. So there was a design team that began working with Catherine Barnes on the process design back in January, and we met together in Florida. Many of us were on the, actually all of us, except for Todd, were on the design team. And the process really meant that we would go through different, thinking through different processes that we would ask the larger group to go through, and kind of like on a smaller group, figure out what those look like, kind of tussle with what that would feel like for people who are participating, and really settle on what the whole process would look like that we were asking the Future Church Summit participants to be part of. So that was the design team's work. The design team actually kept meeting up until the Future Church Summit happened. We met virtually many times, lots of emails, lots of conversations, and Catherine really led our process and helping us think through what it would look like to invite hundreds of people to be part of envisioning the future of the Mennonite Church. So a lot of our work as design team ended up overlapping with the theme team. That was pretty much mostly design team members except for Todd and I shouldn't say names because now I'm going to forget the person's name. Catherine, the other Catherine. Yeah, so she also joined our theme team process, and the theme team was really charged with leading the coalescing of all the data, getting all that stuff in actually at the summit, and hearing the themes from the group and giving back reports. So that work overlapped in that many people that were on the design team ended up on the theme team as well for those 2.5 days for the process. Some other people that were part of the design team ended up being part of the facilitation team, like Michelle or Terry, who was the stage manager for the process. There was a test run for the team. So there was some of us here, not myself, were part of a test run for the CLC to see how the whole process would work. So before we introduced lots of people to it, we did a trial run to see if it would make sense and what kind of kinks were in the process that we needed to work out. And then the design team and the theme team, really, we didn't have an official role after the process is over. We're kind of done, but not. And we've been looking at what our role will look like going forward, what kind of clarity we need to bring, really realizing that we've invested a lot of hours and time into this process and we care deeply about it. And we're hoping that through either our written responses or this blog, we can continue to help support the process and the learning that we've had through the Future Church Summit. So I think I covered everything. Any pieces missing, anybody, for how the teams all worked? No, we're good? All right. Yeah, that was a lot of things right there. So let's kind of shift our conversation a little bit back to like how we, like the behind the scenes kind of process for the different teams, specifically about the design team. I was wondering, Michelle, if maybe you can speak a little bit more about what that was like in Orlando when we met up together in January.
Well, one, meeting in Orlando in January was wonderful.
Yeah.
Considering some of us came from places where there was substance on the ground. So that was a wonderful experience. I think what we spent a lot of time talking through various types of processes. One, helping everyone to understand what how to do it. Like, I'm just trying to even think of what some of them were. I don't even remember. I don't have them in front of me. But a lot of time was spent talking about the process. But I think what was most important about the design team meeting, process meeting, was Catherine Barnes, because one, she has a lot of experience and skills in this area. He had previous experience with large groups, working with faith communities, and so she had an idea of what could possibly work. And I think as the design team, we just spent a lot of time, I think, talking through the processes, expressing ourselves sometimes quite strongly. We did not all agree. There were, difficult conversations, but what I would like to say more than anything, everyone around the table, everyone present, is committed to the church, is committed to the health and well-being, the growth, the spiritual growth of the church. And so I think all the emotions, strong and otherwise, came from that place of deep care, deep love, and the hope that that this process will indeed be a process that would help to transform the church, to the church to be more like what Jesus is calling us to do and to be. So that's basically all that I would say.
Yeah.
Anyone else speak up?
Yeah. Any other comments to, I think, Michelle, that you really summed it up really well. And also that whole, like, it wasn't a clean, perfect process, which actually was mirrored again in the Future Church Summit. Like, we also had our own tensions. We also had our own, coming from very different places intentionally, right? We were all intentionally asked because of who we were to be part of, in that space, trying to represent the breadth and the depth of the Mennonite church. And so that meant that there was some challenges, right? But that I felt like what Michelle said, there was deep commitment and deep love for the church. And we were willing to stay and like wrestle through those things because Catherine really created a process that allowed us to keep dialoguing. So I don't know if anybody else wants to add on to that at all.
But I think I would be willing to say that the choice of the people was, I think, was very intentional, because the last couple of church conferences, there were a number of difficult topics and controversies and conflicts, and so this came out of Glenn Guyton's and Iris DeLeon's desire to really say, like, how do we have these conversations rather than talking about where we don't get along? How do we have a conversation that says, these are our dreams for the church, the future of the church, and who needs to be at the table? And so it was intentional to make it as ethnically diverse as possible, gender diverse. We also were intentional about having people who are same-gendered people. We were intentional about having people who may represent the spectrums that now exist in the church. And so I think you can't have everybody, but I think the selection and the choice of the people that were at the design team meeting nothing is perfect, but represented as well as possible the present diversity of thought, theology, and peoples that exist in the Mennonite church today.